I'm going to use my Sun oven again today. I haven't been able to use it as much as I've wanted to, and it's funny, I never realized how little the sun shines here in Southern California, at least along the coast where I live, until I got the Sun oven. It's been a lot of cloudy days, but today it's sunny. It's going to be a nice day to cook in the Sun oven. So I'm going to make a pot of real Texas chili. I'm going to cut this recipe in half because I don't have a big pot to put. Well, I do, but it's not going to fit very nicely in the Sun oven. I want to use the bean pot I just bought a little while ago. And I've used it once already. It works well in the Sun oven. So let's make real Texas chili in a Sun oven. I have here about 1.5 pounds, maybe a little bit more, of beef chuck. These are actually boneless steaks, 680 grams. And I'm going to cut these into cubes, maybe like, I don't know, inch or so in size, 2.5 centimeters. Maybe cut some of these a little bit smaller. Like so. So you see what I'm doing here. It's going to take me a few minutes. Just finishing up here. This recipe, by the way, comes from the late, great Craig Claiborne, who was considered a chili aficionado, and he had served many times as a chili judge at chili cook-offs. Going to put some olive oil in there, mostly around the edges, because what I'm thinking of is I'm just going to use that to kind of coat the pot a little bit, maybe get a little less sticking, although it's not going to be cooked over high heat, so I shouldn't have a problem with sticking. My knife, it's over here. Got a couple of cloves of garlic here. Some people add garlic, some don't. I happen to like the garlic in there. So there's one. And here goes the other. That's it. 2 to 3 tablespoons of chili powder, as hot or mild as you want it. I'm using a mild California chili. I don't like things too spicy hot. All right. 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. And then, this is a little bit different for some people, 1/2 tablespoon of dried oregano flakes. Some people say oregano and chili, never heard of it. What can I say? I happen to like it, and I happen to like Craig Claiborne's recipe. And then I've got here 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. That's just to help thicken the sauce a little bit. Once it gets going and cooking, I'm going to stir this around first to coat all this meat. Like so. Okay, and then what I have here is 2 cups, or about 475 milliliters of beef broth. You can use bouillon, you can use store-bought beef broth. Make sure it's all stirred up. And then, again, stir this in. Now, if you want, you can add 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of salt to this. I'm using bouillon, Better Than Bouillon brand beef base. It has salt in it, although I'm using a low sodium bouillon. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt, less than a teaspoon. I'm just going to put a little bit in the palm of my hand like that, and then pour that in there. So between 1/2 and 1 teaspoon of salt. I like low salt anyways, but when I eat this, usually I find that it needs a little bit more salt. And then finally, I'm going to grind some black pepper in there. I don't know, 1/8 to 1/4 of a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Stir that in. Put the lid on, and that is ready to go into the sun oven. Here is my sun oven, waiting for the sun to get high enough. There's a shadow here from my home that's falling onto the oven. That will clear out a little bit, and as we get closer into November and December, I'm probably going to have to do my cooking on the other side of my home where I have more sunshine. Here is my chili out of my sun oven. This is hot. Give this a stir. Not quite thick enough, but not bad. Okay, I need my red handle tasting spoon. This is probably going to need some salt. It always does. Let's see what this tastes like. Ooh, not bad. Maybe a little pinch of salt. All right, let's see what this tastes like. It's hot though. Heat hot, not spicy hot. I'm going to leave that as is. And what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to make some more, probably tomorrow. But I'm going to portion this up and put a lot of it in the freezer. Maybe this will give me about 4 portions, probably. Oh, and by the way, this was outside for 2 hours. As planned, I waited for the glass door to steam up. And then I started counting and let it go for 2 hours. The meat is really tender. Let me get a really good sized piece of beef here, a couple of them. See how tender these are. But these seem really tender. And how I like to serve this is I like to stretch it so that I get more meals out of it. So I'll cook up some rice, and then I'll pour a portion of this over the rice. So the rice fills me up, but I also get to enjoy some of my chili. Melt in your mouth tender. That is wonderful. Oh, that's delicious. That is delicious. So there it is, a pot of beef chili, now that the handles are cool enough to touch. The recipe is on my website, mobilehomegourmet.com. It's beef chili, or Texas beef chili. I'll put a link to that recipe at the end of this video. And you could make this in a pot on the stove. That's how I always made it. But now I like using the sun when I can, because I use no fossil fuels. No gas, no electricity. I'm not contributing to global warming. I'm using a renewable source, the sun's energy, when the sun shines. But it's easy and it's quick, and I got a nice delicious pot of chili here. So go onto my website and look at the recipe and give it a try yourself. Texas beef chili, or just beef chili.